train? Was it a bicycle? What is wrong with my brain? Is it the end of me? No, I must still believe. So I'm still alive, you see. Heck yeah, now I'm on my way. But let's stay focused, there's still a job in hand that we must do. Cameras start to click, we know what creating something new. So go Marty and Sarah and Mark and Matt, Owen, Smitty, McCrilly and Jamie Lane in the Archer County Band. The Archer County Band. The Archer County Band. The Archer County Band. Stop the clock, we're done, we're rolling. Sound the horn and sing that we are going. 27 hours, that is the time. So let's hop on the bus and let it shine, 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 shine. Say sha la 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 la, 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 sha la 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 la. Good evening, folks. You are very welcome to Bandido Talks. We are live here on YouTube, 7 p.m. We are back with episode 16, more news on the tube. It is our final live stream of the weekend. We're going to finish it with aplomb, with some enthusiasm to bring us in to the next week that is going to greet us. News on the tube. We're going to do something a little similar to what we did last night. Should be a good show. Of course, I have to confess something right at the beginning of tonight's show. I went and reviewed yesterday evening's live stream. It all looked good until 56 minutes. What can you guess happened at 56 minutes? Another gremlin entered the live stream. We had yet another gremlin. It's been a weekend of gremlins. We had a gremlin on Friday evening at the beginning of our stream, which caused us to be late by a full 60 minutes. Then, of course, last night's stream was going swimmingly well. And then, of course, 56 minutes in, the gremlin enters the stream. It causes a little kink. The audio is offset from the visuals, and we're out of sync. Why am I saying this? Well, perhaps for those of you who have been checking out the main Bandido Talks channel page, you will notice that once again, I've had to break last night's live stream into two parts. So currently at the moment, part one of yesterday evening's live stream is up on the Bandido Talks channel on the main page. part 1. So we got through 56 minutes before the gremlin, the technological kink before it happened. So you've got part 1 currently from last night's stream up on the Bandido Talks channel. We got through pretty much the first 2 news items on our News on the Tube. Elon Musk, and of course, the mystery flight that went from Gaza all the way to South Africa. If you want to know what it is that I'm talking about, then you can of course check out part 1 of episode 15. It is up on the channel. So what I'm going to do is, I had to of course download the entire episode and then the part of the episode, which was pretty much the last 30 minutes. I had to then take it into the editing software and realign the audio and the video. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to release part 2 of yesterday evening's stream. That's Saturday evening's stream. I'm going to release part 2 of that stream, episode 15, with the audio and the visuals realigned. Hopefully we don't have a gremlin tonight. I've had to make a few more changes. I've learned a few more things about mistakes that the Bandido could be making in his live streams. So hopefully we won't have any gremlins tonight. Hopefully it won't be 3 in a row. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to break the mold, folks. So anyway, part 1 of yesterday evening's stream is up on the channel. Part 2 will be coming tomorrow evening. I'll upload part 2 of Saturday's stream with everything nicely aligned. It's about 30 minutes or so, and it's about Chinese astronauts. And of course we deal with some of the live chats as well from yesterday evening's stream. So it's worth checking out. It was a good show last night. Got through some interesting news articles for our News on the Tube. We're going to do the same thing here tonight. But before we get into the show, as always, folks, if you enjoy our little News on the Tube segment here on Bandido Talks, then feel free to give the live stream a like. All likes are appreciated. If you are, of course, joining us live, I would encourage you, as always, to get active in the live chat. Engagement with the show is always welcome. We enjoy a bit of engagement here on Bandido Talks. So get into the live chat, drop your comments, your queries, your questions, your insights about what it is that we're going to be talking about on tonight's show, or just general insights. They can be random. There's no moderation in the live chat, so go wild there, folks. Get engaged with the show. And of course, if you're watching the live stream after the event as a video, posted on the main channel page, then get down into the comments section, let me know what you thought about the show. And finally, if you like what we do here at Bandido Talks, if you find it interesting, insightful, useful, valuable, then feel free to subscribe to the channel, and you will of course be notified of all of the uploads and content that we have coming your direction. Remember, folks, we are live every Friday, Saturday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Irish time here on YouTube. So we always have 3 live shows every week, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, 7 p.m. Irish time here on YouTube. We will, of course, always as well as that, have a Tuesday upload. It could be with a guest. It could be a best bits compilation, highlights essentially of the previous week's shows. So plenty of content coming your way. And of course, we'll always have our little YouTube shorts to keep you entertained. For those of you who do not have an enormous attention span, maybe you're thinking, I couldn't be arsed sitting through a 1 hour or 1.5 hour live stream. I just want the best bits. We'll release those YouTube shorts throughout the week. Okay, so with all of that out of the road, let us get on with tonight's show, folks. It is, of course, as I've said, the last live show of the weekend. News on the Tube. We do News on the Tube every Saturday and Sunday. News on the Tube is our Saturday and Sunday segment. What do we do on News on the Tube? What we do is we go to the Bandido's Google Chrome browser, and in this Google Chrome browser, there are a whole bunch of media articles. And what we do here is we take these media articles, we get in underneath the surface, get deep into the article, and try to extract the lessons that are residing within these articles and try to apply, perhaps, these lessons to our own existence. So that's what we're going to do tonight, folks. So with all of that said, let's get into our news on the tube. Let's see what our first story is going to be. Of course, folks, if you notice any gremlins in our live stream, feel free to let me know in the chat if there are any problems. Let's even have a wee check. A little check-in with the chat, just to make sure everything's functioning. I think everything's going just fine. It seems to be going just fine. I haven't got a comment to say that there's a gremlin, so I'm assuming that we are live and we are functioning. Okay, so let's get into our first story. Straight over to our Google Chrome browser. Let's see what we're going to be greeted with. As I always say, these news stories that we cover here on our News on the Tube segment here at Bandido Talks. The Bandido is never aware of what story is going to greet him. So this is a first time for me. It's a first time for you. That's what makes it exciting. We don't need any preparation. Let's see what we have on the agenda tonight. Okay. So story number 1 is coming from the Irish Independent. So we've got the Irish Independent to kick off proceedings on tonight's show. Let's see what the headline is. Is it going to make me do anything? I don't think so. Okay, so let's read out the headline. It's an exclusive from the Irish Independent. Dennis O'Brien on convicted fraudster DJ Carey. Quote, I am still fond of him and hold no malice towards him at all. The businessman was deceived over an 8-year period, Dennis O'Brien. So businessman Dennis O'Brien, who was defrauded out of around €135,000 by DJ Carey, has said he has, quote, no malice towards him at all and, quote, hopes he gets the help he needs. 5-time All-Ireland winning hurler DJ Carey was jailed last week for 5.5 years after he pleaded guilty to lying about a cancer diagnosis in order to make a financial gain. Okay, we get the gist of this article, folks. This is going to be a good news item to open up the show with. So DJ Carey, for those of you who are not familiar with this story, I am actually familiar with this story in general. It's a little bit like the Donald Trump speech. It's kind of been in the news a lot, and it's come across my radar over the last week or two. And it's about this chap called DJ Carey. Now, for those of you who do not know who DJ Carey is, DJ Carey, you could say, was a national hero among the folk of Ireland. Why was he a national hero, a national treasure? Well, of course, he was deemed by many to be one of the greatest hurling players to ever grace a hurling field here on Ireland. One of the greats of the hurling sphere, let's say. He played for Kilkenny, one of the top hurling teams in Ireland, and he was one of the best players of his generation. And many people make the argument that DJ Carey, throughout his long career, he won many All-Stars, many accolades, perhaps many Player of the Year trophies for his exploits. And many people know DJ Carey. In fact, the vast majority of people here on Ireland, if you're into the GAA, if you're into hurling, if you swim in those circles, you have probably heard of DJ Carey. He is known essentially as being one of the great GAA players, specifically one of the great hurling players of all time. Not just of his generation, but of all time. So DJ Carey, because hurling, of course, is the national sport, I believe, of Ireland. Certainly the Republic of Ireland. Don't want to get into too much controversial territory by saying Ireland. You never know what to say these days, do you? I'm just going to say Ireland. So, the national sport of Ireland, hurling. So, it's a sport that is unique to this country. It's not really played anywhere else. Hurling is a sport that's played here in Ireland, among the 32 counties of Ireland. You have London and a few other, Warwickshire, some of these other counties from England, but really, it's a sport that's exclusively, largely, we could say, played in Ireland, on the island of Ireland. So hurling is the national sport. It sort of is one of those sports. Think of it a little bit like American football in terms of America. Who else plays American football on the planet? It's really only one of those sports that's unique to America. It's called American football for a reason, because it's played in America. So hurling's a little bit similar, we could say. Do other people around the world pick up a hurling stick and maybe whack the ball around in a park or some big open field around the world? People probably do play the sport around the world. But really, the competitive nature of the sport, the competitive heart of the sport takes place in Ireland. That's where all of the competition is. Ireland is the place where the trophies are to be won for this particular sport. So hurling is a very unique sport to Ireland. And I think many people would say that hurling represents the best of the Irish people. People could make that argument. It's a sport that's synonymous with Ireland. It makes Ireland unique in many ways because, as I've said, hurling isn't played competitively really anywhere else on the planet. So it makes Ireland unique. And so as a result, if you are a hurling player, a high-level, top-tier hurling player in Ireland, you are a very high-status, highly respected, much-admired human being. Generally, all things being equal, you generally, if you are playing at the top level of the sport of hurling here in Ireland, you are regarded I suppose in a similar way to, say, Tom Brady in American football, or Peyton Manning for American football. These are famous quarterbacks that play American football. So if you're at the top of your game, if you're at the top of the hurling game here in Ireland, generally, anybody who is into hurling here on the island of Ireland, and a lot of people are because it's one of those unique community-driven sports or events or activities. So it's one of those things, it's within the fabric of the island of Ireland. It's part of Irish culture, hurling. And so, if you are really good at this sport, if you are at the top tier level of hurling, you would be a high status, highly respected, generally admired human being. You have a very high standing within the social hierarchy on the island of Ireland. And so DJ Carey, back to good old DJ. What's DJ been getting up to in his spare time? Well, we're going to investigate this here as part of our news item number 1. DJ, of course, DJ Carey, he has played at the very top level of hurling for Kilkenny, County Kilkenny. And Kilkenny, for those of you who aren't familiar, is one of the powerhouse teams in hurling. They're one of the biggest teams on the island of Ireland. They are one of the... I think they might actually have the most All-Irelands. Possibly. I think they do. They're right up there. I think they've won the All-Ireland Championship possibly more times than any other team. So Kilkenny is one of the biggest hurling teams here on Ireland. And DJ Carey played for Kilkenny and was one of the best players of his generation and one of the best players, people have said, to ever grace a hurling field. Tremendous skill. He scored. He was a forward, so he scored a lot of goals, a lot of points. He was an inspirational character within the Kilkenny team for many years. So, DJ Carey, it goes without saying, given everything that I've said about hurling and how hurling is such an integral part, one could say, of the Irish culture. It's the national sport. It's a unique thing that Ireland does. So if you're at the top of the hurling game, you're at the top of this unique thing that makes Ireland cool and stand out from the rest of the world, one could say. So DJ Carey was one of those people. He was one of those people who was right at the top of the game during his era of playing. And so throughout most of DJ Carey's life, people have greatly admired, greatly respected DJ Carey, because he represented something truly Irish. He was this phenomenal hurling player, played at the top of the game. He never got sent off in his life. So he never received a red card in his life. He never got sent off. I don't even know if he even received a yellow card in his life. So just like soccer, hurling has yellow and red cards. And I don't even think DJ Carey had a yellow card in his playing career. So people would have viewed DJ as the ultimate, not just the ultimate hurling player, but the ultimate sportsman. He had great integrity on the field. He was never getting up to any what you would call deceitful behaviour on the field. He wasn't trying to get up to any dirty shenanigans when he was playing the game. He played the game fairly. He played the game well. And so as a result, he wasn't just a great player, but people would have viewed him as a great sportsman and by extension, an admirable human. DJ Carey would have went to many different clubs around Ireland and performed training sessions and got engaged with awards ceremonies for different clubs, handing out medals and cups and all this sort of stuff. So DJ Carey, it goes without saying, had, past tense, a tremendous reputation here on the island of Ireland and even abroad. Even over in the United States, people would have known DJ Carey. He was floating in circles because of his standing within Ireland. He was a bit of a national hero, as I've said, a bit of a national treasure, one of these great hurling players who represented everything great about the game of hurling. Played with integrity, he was never a dirty player, no red cards, no yellow cards. He was a fantastic forward, tremendous skill. He was a real flair type of player. So he wasn't this type of a boring player. He had great flair and skill and touch with the stick and ball. So people thought DJ Carey was just a great hurler and a great guy, a great sportsman. So why am I laying this all out? I'm laying all this out because, number one, I just happen to know quite a bit about hurling, and because I live in Ireland, obviously, I live here in Ireland, I'm familiar with the GAA community and Gaelic games in general, hurling obviously. I played a bit of hurling myself, played a bit of the old stick and ball. So I know a bit about DJ Carey. Not an enormous amount, but just enough to give you folks a bit of a backdrop as to how this guy was viewed up until fairly recently. Now, when I say up until fairly recently, what has happened? Well, of course, this article is referring to something that has happened. It's a news story that has broken in the last number of weeks. And what has happened is the following. DJ Carey, this national hero, national treasure, great hurling player, generational great, all-time great, admirable guy, what has happened? Well, it turns out that DJ has been giving the illusion to the public that he has been suffering from cancer. So he has been given the illusion that he has been struck down with cancer, brain cancer, I believe. So he has brain cancer, and he's been given the illusion that he has been a little strapped for cash. He's been strapped for cash, and the treatment that he has needed to treat his brain tumour, it's this very expensive treatment that takes place over in the United States. And so as a result, here we have poor old DJ. We have poor old DJ who has a brain tumour, and the specific treatment that poor old DJ needs for his brain tumour is this fancy treatment that takes place over in America. It's a fancy treatment that requires a lot of money. And it turns out that DJ has been given the illusion to the public that he doesn't have the money, the necessary funds to pay for his very expensive treatment for this brain tumour that he has, which is obviously going to threaten his life. Now you can imagine, folks, given DJ's standing among the Irish population, and especially among the hurling and GAA community, people would have heard about DJ's predicament. He has a brain tumour. He needs this treatment. He's identified this treatment in the United States. This treatment, DJ believes, is going to be effective in saving his life, getting rid of this brain tumour. And so given DJ's standing within the Irish community, this sort of national hero, national treasure status, when people heard that DJ had a brain tumour and that DJ needed funding for his treatment, naturally, what do we think happened? Well, given DJ's enormous standing among the Irish public, people loved DJ because of what he did on the hurling field and what he did off the hurling field. And so as a result, when people heard about DJ's predicament, his brain tumour, and the fact that he had identified this cutting edge treatment over in America, but that he was struggling to fund his treatment. When people heard about this, naturally, good-willed, well-intentioned people thought, oh, poor DJ. Oh, what a terrible set of circumstances. Poor DJ, we're going to have to throw him a bit of money here because he has a brain tumour, one of the worst tumours you could have. A brain tumour, it is right up there. The Terminator, it's often called when you have a brain tumour. Very short life expectancy people tend to have when they have brain tumours. So naturally, when people heard DJ had a brain tumour, people are thinking, oh, we need to act quickly because we need to get DJ out to America so that he can have this cutting edge treatment. So naturally, what happened? The people of Ireland rode in behind DJ and said, you know what, DJ? You have came to our club and done trophy presentations, and you never took any money for your trophy presentations. And you know, you were a great hurling player in your day with Kilkenny. You gave us a lot of joy watching you on the field. You were a great sportsman. You always played the game with integrity. And, you know, you seemed like a really good guy off the field. Here's some money, DJ, towards your brain tumour cancer treatment over in America. And so what started to happen? People started to give DJ Carey money for his treatment. And the money kept flowing in from all of these different sources, Dennis O'Brien included. So Dennis O'Brien, according to the article, gave €135,000 towards DJ's cause and his treatment. Now, what happened? This all seems fair game, doesn't it, folks? It seems, you know, DJ, great sportsman, great hurling player, one could argue represents what's great about the Irish folk, gives back to the community, it seems, and now he's found himself in this turbulent moment in his life with a brain tumour. He's identified this cutting-edge treatment over in America, and as a result, he's going to need to get this treatment, but he doesn't have the funds for the treatment. So people start to loan DJ money so that he can have his treatment. And hopefully, the end game here being that his life is spared. Now, what has happened? Well, it turns out that old DJ was telling a few porky pies about his current set of circumstances. What do I mean, porky pies? Well, it turns out that DJ never had a brain tumour. He never had a brain tumour. No tumour at all. And so this became apparent. And there is now the iconic picture of DJ. You can look this up online. You'll be able to find it. There is the iconic picture of DJ Carey. He takes a picture of him. Now, I'm not making this up. Before I tell you this, I am not making this up. This is true. This is true, what I'm going to say. There's an iconic picture of DJ. He takes it with his own phone, and he takes this picture of himself with what looks like some sort of a medical cord up his nose and a sticky plaster across his nose, keeping this sort of medical cord in place. And so DJ takes this picture of himself, and the general, I suppose, interpretation of this picture, until fairly recently, was, oh gosh, there's poor DJ. He's taken a picture of himself with some medical tube up his nose, a sticky plaster over his nose, and people were under the illusion when they looked at this picture that he must have been in a hospital. He must be in a hospital and they're administering the treatment, or he's in the middle of some sort of treatment. That's what people would have thought when they saw this picture. But the beauty of the internet, it became apparent that this picture, which has now become iconic, this particular picture, it wasn't a medical tube up DJ's nose. DJ took a phone charger, the cable of a phone charger, and he stuck it up his nose and put a little sticky plaster. You know the little cheap sticky plasters that you get out of the shop? The ones that cost maybe £1.50? You know those sticky plasters, you get maybe 50 of them in a packet for £1.50? One of those sticky plasters. So DJ takes the cable of his phone charger. He lies back on his bed. He sticks the phone charger cable up his nose, puts a £1.50 sticky plaster over his nose, and tries to give the public the illusion that he's in the middle of cancer treatment. This is a true story, folks. So that's DJ. And of course, people started to pay a little bit more attention to this picture. And some people started to say, you know, that looks awful like a phone charger that I have. And some people started to say, you know what? That looks a bit like my phone charger too. And people started to then pass the picture around. And it became apparent that DJ, as part of his scam, took his own phone charger cable, stuck it up his nose, put a £1.50 sticky plaster across his nose, and tried to give the public the impression that he was in the middle of cancer treatment, presumably in a hospital in America. Isn't that some cutting edge treatment there, folks? What do we think of that? Phone charger cable up the nose, sticky plaster across the nose. That's cutting edge. I think Dennis O'Brien will be very happy with his £135,000 or euro investment. Very good indeed. So this is DJ. This is the story, or should I say the scandal of DJ Carey. DJ Carey tried to give the impression, the illusion to the public that he was suffering from a brain tumour. The worst type of tumour that you can get. So he gave this illusion that he had a brain tumour. And so what happened was he would go around and talk to people. And because of DJ's impeccable reputation within the hurling world, within the Irish cultural world, just generally, because hurling is a part of Irish culture, so even people who aren't that into hurling, they would know, a lot of people would know who DJ Carey is, because he's one of the biggest names in the sport. A generational great, and an all-time great. And so DJ was given the illusion, he gave the illusion that he had a brain tumour, the worst type of tumour, and the goodwill of the Irish people kicked into gear, and they said, we want to help you, DJ. And DJ said, well, I suppose DJ, it would be interesting to know what sort of a conscience DJ has. That's maybe a discussion for a different day. But DJ, willingly, knowing that he did not have a brain tumour, DJ took their money as a loan, gave the illusion that this money was going towards this cutting-edge treatment in America. And so as a result, people started to flood DJ with money for a condition or disease that he did not have, for a treatment that he was never going to take part in. And so this is the big scandal. So DJ has scammed people out of money. He was deceptive. He told porky pies. Now these are fairly large porky pies. Fairly large porky pies. Telling someone that you have a brain tumour and then giving the download to that person that you're struggling financially and that, you mightn't be able to afford your treatment. You're sort of preying on people. You're using your reputation, your high standing within society. You're using your standing within society. You're using this horrific disease, which is a brain tumour, to your advantage. You're taking their money for a condition you don't have, for a treatment that you're never going to do. So obviously, this scandal has broke loose within the public sphere. And naturally, people are a little disgusted. A little disgusted might be an understatement. People are very disgusted. They feel betrayed. They feel like they've been manipulated. They feel like they've been deceived. And you know what? Anybody who has given money to DJ, or anybody who has simply, I suppose, had compassion for his situation and dedicated precious minutes and maybe hours of their time thinking about DJ. Maybe they went to mass to pray for DJ. Maybe they held a local community event to raise money for DJ as well. Who knows? People have invested time and money, and a lot of time and money, one could argue, in DJ's apparent situation. And so as a result, this is all blown up in the media now, and the grand deception has been revealed. And so this is what the article is getting at. So the article is basically saying Dennis O'Brien was one of these people who donated a lot of money to DJ, €135,000. And he's not the only one. There are many people who donated. And when I say donate, I mean loaned money to DJ. with, of course, the expectation that DJ would pay the loan back, which obviously he didn't, because it was a scam. Scammers don't tend to have a lot of integrity, do they? They don't normally think, oh yeah, I'll pay back that loan. If that was the case, they wouldn't be called a scammer. So DJ did. He deceived or scammed people out of money for a condition that he never had, for treatment that he was never going to do. And this was, of course, very amusingly revealed with the phone charger cable up the nose. You'd think DJ could have at least... I mean, we have to question. This man, DJ Carey, has pulled off a great scam. Well, he thought he had pulled off a great scam. Clearly he hasn't, because it is now public knowledge that he has scammed people. But DJ would have been thinking in the moment, okay, I'm getting away with this. I'm getting all of this money in through loans from various people. I'm probably not going to pay it back, and I'm going to use the money for some reason. Some other reason that has nothing to do with brain cancer treatment. And so we must ask the question, folks. Firstly, goodness gracious me, DJ. DJ, if you're gonna scam people, do it properly, son. I mean, if you're going to scam people, at least do it properly. At least do it in a way that if you are caught, people can say, you know what? That was a fantastically put together scam. Fair play to DJ. It's not admirable what he did. You know, we don't agree with what he did, but we have to applaud the genius behind the scam. He executed the scam so well. You know, at least if DJ did it in a way where he could at least gain some status for the skill involved in pulling the scam off, fair enough. That would be in a strange way interesting to look at it from that angle. But oh no, DJ, what does DJ do? To sell the illusion that he is having cancer treatment, DJ gets a fucking sticky plaster. Literally a cheap-arsed sticky plaster. He puts the sticky plaster across his nose. And then he thinks, right, I'm looking good here. This looks medical and professional. Yes, this looks like I'm in a hospital. What else can I do? And he's probably looking around the room going, right, okay, I've got step one, the sticky plaster's on my nose. Right, that's looking good. Let's have a wee look at the camera here. Let's see how I'm looking. Yeah, that sticky plaster's on good. Yeah, it only cost me $1.50 the packet. Yeah, it's good sticky plaster. Okay, now what else can I do? Oh, I've got an idea. There's my phone charger. Let me get the phone charger and stick it up my nose. Yeah, let's get the cable of the phone charger, stick it up my nose. Because whenever I put the phone charger cable up my nose, along with the sticky plaster, that'll really sell it to the population. Yeah, let's do that. Where's the phone charger cable? Yeah. And he sticks it up his nose. Oh, I went a bit too far there. Shit. Yeah, okay. Let's have a look at that now. Yeah. Sticky plaster in place. Phone charger cable up the nose. All right. Let's take the picture. Click. That looks good, doesn't it, folks? The level of retardation, I would have to say. I mean, folks, is there any other way to describe it? I mean, if DJ was going to do this, if he was going to take a picture and give the illusion that he's in a hospital, you would think all of the money that's been loaned to him, you'd think he could have at least purchased a medical tube, just a medical tube, and put a bit more effort into it. At least get a medical tube. Don't take a phone charger cable, DJ. If you're gonna scam people, at least gain a bit of credibility for a well-executed scam. At least have that going for you, so that you can go to prison. We're going to talk about that in a second. But at least you can go to prison now with a cool story. You know, yeah, here's how I ran my scam. I got found out because, you know, MI6 ran this undercover operation and they used all this high-tech or whatever, high-tech equipment to kind of suss out that I was scamming people, and they tapped my phone and they found text messages, and then they were able to link those messages to this event on this date. You know, at least have some intelligence agency essentially bust you in some fashion. so that at least the scam looks admirable. It looks respectable. But DJ, no, what does DJ do? He gets a sticky plaster and his phone charger cable, sticks it up his nose, takes a selfie, and he thinks that's going to fly. We really have to, folks. The level of retardation that went into that particular moment. DJ, I don't know what you were thinking. If you're going to scam people, do it well. There's one of the lessons from this story, folks. If you're going to scam people, at least make the scam convoluted and interesting and spectacular, and at least make the scam represent some degree of intellect on your behalf. Instead, what does DJ do? DJ gets the phone charger cable and a sticky plaster, sticks it up his nose, and thinks that's gonna pass. As, convincing the public that I'm undergoing brain tumour treatment. Anyway, this story's interesting. So that's kind of the lie of the land with respect to the story. But you know the interesting thing, and this is maybe a novel angle that we're going to attack this story with. Because, fair enough, people are going to hear me lay out this entire story. Who DJ was, his standing within Ireland, the scam that he's pulled off, the absolute stupidity involved in the scam. It's an absolute clown show, really, when you think of it. How it's actually ended up blowing up. But this is the thing. Everybody's going to have a reaction to this. And I would say, on the whole, most people, I think if we were to survey the Irish population, most people, if they had to summarise in a word this entire scandal with respect to DJ, people would probably say disgusting, dishonest, horrendous, total loss of respect for DJ as a person. People would say things like this. Those would be the words that would come to their mind. Atrocious, betrayal. All of these things. And that's fine, because I'm not here to justify what DJ has done. There's no question. DJ is, one could argue, that DJ has carried out a scumbag manoeuvre. It's a scumbag manoeuvre, one could easily argue. He has preyed on people's goodwill using his reputation and standing within Ireland. He has tried to make it out like he has one of the worst diseases you could have, a brain tumour. He's also tried to make it out that he's actually found the solution to his brain tumour problem via this cutting-edge treatment in America. And then finally, the cherry on top, he makes clear that he doesn't have enough money to fund this treatment, but he knows that if he could get this treatment, it could save his life. So there's no question. I am not justifying for 1 minute and trying to make it out like DJ is anything other than a scumbag. Because he has. He has deceived people, and he has preyed on their goodwill, and he has fabricated this big, deceptive story using a particular disease that people would have a very emotional response to. Fair enough. No question. Scumbag move, and his reputation deservedly is now in the toilet. It's swirling around the toilet, about to go in to the sewer with all the rest of the shit and piss that comes down into the sewer. So that's where DJ's reputation is. It's down in the sewer with a whole mixture of shit and piss from the entire population. And deservedly so. His reputation deserves to be down there. And that's fine. So we can come at DJ from a moral angle. We can say morally what DJ Carey has done is reprehensible. It's disgusting. It's a betrayal of people's trust. It's a betrayal of his friends. A betrayal of, one could even say, the hurling community. It's sort of brought the entire sport, one could say, into a negative light. Because it shows how someone who was at the top of the sport has abused his position, his standing within Irish society. No question about any of that. We can certainly attack DJ, if we want to, from a moral angle, and say, you know what? The reputational damage that DJ has incurred, good enough for him. Good enough for him. He ran the cost-benefit analysis. DJ knew what he was doing. He knew he was running a scam. He knew he didn't have a brain tumour. He knew there was no cutting-edge treatment out in America for this non-existent brain tumour. He was never going to do it. He was fully aware of what he was doing. He milked the population. He milked his friends, milked his fans, lied to them, deceived them, manipulated them into giving him money. Fair enough. The moral angle, we can definitely come at DJ Carey morally. It was a horrendous thing what he did, a scumbag move, and nobody is here to justify that at all. But this is the thing, folks. Coming at DJ morally is one thing. But notice the interesting thing with this story. DJ Carey has been sentenced to 5.5 years in prison. Now, let me make something clear here, folks. Because we're laughing, perhaps, and rolling our eyes, and perhaps disgusted at the whole thing. We're laughing at the phone charger cable. We're disgusted at the behaviour, taking advantage of the goodwill of people. But, folks, let's make something clear here. DJ Carey did not force anybody to give him money. Let me repeat that. DJ Carey did not force anybody to give him money. He did not pull a pistol out of his pocket, break into somebody's house, hold the pistol to their head and say, you need to give me money, or I'm going to blow your brains out, or I'm going to murder your wife, or your husband, or your children, or the people who you love and care about. DJ Carey did none of that. DJ Carey, to my knowledge, did not lay a finger physically on anybody. He did not force money out of anybody. Did he deceive people? Yes. Did he manipulate people? Yes. That is true. But he did not force anybody to give him money. And better still, folks, he did not steal any money from anybody. He did not steal. He did not rob anybody. And there's a difference here, folks. There's a difference between deceiving people and being manipulative and getting somebody's money through deception. There's a big difference between that and forcibly making someone give you money and effectively stealing from them or robbing them. There's a big difference between the two. DJ Carey did not steal from anybody. He did not rob anybody of their money. What he did was he manipulated people using his standing within Irish society, using his reputation as an all-time generational great hurler. He also manipulated and deceived people by telling them that he had a horrendous disease, a brain tumour, and he also deceived people by telling them that he had found the treatment that would help save his life. He also deceived people by telling them that he did not have the funds in order to essentially get over to America and have this treatment carried out. He did all of those things. He deceived and manipulated people. But folks, I'm going to keep repeating myself. He did not force anybody to give him money. Nobody. He didn't lay a hand on them. He deceived them, he manipulated them. But ultimately, people willingly gave him money. Now, they willingly gave him money based on a deceptive lie. And we can all have our visceral, emotional response to that. As I've already outlined, we can come at DJ morally. That is true. We can say morally what DJ Carey did was reprehensible. It was disgusting, a betrayal of people's goodwill. That's true. But let's be honest here, folks. People do, we could say, deceptive, manipulative things all the time. We've talked about this before. Nobody watching this stream is 100% squeaky clean. No one. Everybody is deceptive and manipulative to varying degrees. And if you're watching this screen and you're saying, or you're watching this stream, let's say. Let's imagine you're watching this and you're listening to me say that every single one of you are deceptive or manipulative to some degree. If you're watching this and you're now shouting or disagreeing and saying, no, I always tell the truth. Bollocks, you do not. You also lie, you also deceive, you also manipulate. Now, you may not do it on the scale that DJ Carey did it. He did it on a much larger scale. And he did it in a way that was much more morally questionable. But at the end of the day, folks, let's distill down and make this nice and simple. What did DJ Carey actually do? Did he break the law? Did DJ Carey, let's engage our brain here, folks, and be honest with ourselves. Did DJ Carey break the law? Did he steal from anybody? Did he rob anybody? Did he force himself onto someone at gunpoint or at knife point or at risk to their life? Did DJ threaten anybody? No, and no. He did not. So we must now be professional. We must put our emotional response to one side. We're going to have a visceral emotional response with respect to what DJ has done. That's fine. That's okay. Let's now be professional and look at this. Did DJ Carey actually break the law? Because this is interesting when you think about this. All that DJ Carey has done is lie, deceive, and manipulate people. Since when did lying and deception and manipulation become illegal? Every single one of you watching this stream, myself included, I am a self-confessed liar. I lie. I deceive people. I'm manipulative when it suits me. I do it all the time. And you watching this stream, you are not 100% squeaky clean either. You deceive people. You manipulate people in your own way. It may not be on the scale of DJ. The lies may not be as reprehensible as I have a brain tumour and I need treatment over in America. They may not be that grandiose, that large. But we all lie. We all tell porky pies. We all are deceptive in our own way. We all manipulate people in various ways to get what we want. And anybody who says they do not do that is a liar. They are lying. Everybody is deceiving and manipulating all the time. So the question we must ask ourselves now is, are we breaking the law when we deceive people, when we lie, when we manipulate people? Is this breaking the law? Because I would argue we are now setting a very dangerous precedent. If being deceptive and telling porky pies is actually punishable by 5.5 years in prison. Does anybody get a bit of an icky feeling when we actually think about this? When you initially hear this story and you hear me lay out this entire case, you initially think, scumbag, good enough for him. He deceived people. He deserves what he gets. Let's just put the brakes on a second here, folks. That's your emotional response. That's you coming at DJ from a moral angle. Let's look at this professionally. Has DJ broken the law? Is it illegal to deceive people? To tell lies? Of course it's not. Because guess what, folks? If it was truly illegal to be deceptive, to be manipulative, to tell lies, then you, me, and everybody should be in prison for some length of time. And this is the precedent that's being set here. This is what's happening. It's dangerous, one could argue, because this gets to be a very hazy line. Yes, DJ deceived people. He manipulated them. used his standing within Irish society, used his impeccable reputation, his status as a great all-time hurler. He conjured a lie about his health, conjured a lie about his finances, conjured a lie about his treatment for this non-existent condition. Sure, DJ has lied and has deceived many people. Is this punishable by 5.5 years in prison? And can we honestly look ourselves in the mirror, folks, and be honest? And this is the lesson from this story. It's why I'm spending so long on this story, because there really is a big arsed lesson to take out of this. We have to be honest. Are we now going to live and say that when someone is deceptive, that is punishable by throwing them in jail? Is it punishable by jail time? Really? To tell a lie? Remember, these people who gave DJ Carey money, they willingly gave him money. He did not force them to give him money. And see how hazy, see how blurry this starts to get, folks. We could actually I could easily make an argument here that DJ Carey has not broken the law at all. How has he broken the law? People have willingly gave him money. Sure, they were deceived. But reality check, folks. You deceive people all the time. You manipulate people all the time. So do I. Now, we may not be able to manipulate or deceive people into giving us €135,000. We may not be able to do that. We may not have the status or standing within society to be able to pull something like that off. But it doesn't matter. We are all telling porky pies. We are all putting on masks and deceiving people all the time. Should we all be thrown in prison? Is this breaking the law? Is it illegal to do this? Why is DJ Carey actually going to prison? DJ Carey's reputation, as I've already said, is down in the gutter with the shit and piss of every other person in society. That's where DJ's reputation is now. One could say that DJ will arguably never recover his reputation. He's cooked. He's done. You don't get away with pulling off a grand deception like that without a serious cost to your reputation. So DJ's reputation is cooked. However, should he be punished further? Punished by being put into prison? I would argue, and I could easily make the argument, that the punishment is actually the reputational damage. That is the punishment. Because DJ has not broken any law. He never forced anybody to do anything. He did not steal from them. He did not rob anybody. Yet here he is, going to spend 5.5 years in prison. So let's be honest, folks. No matter what it is that you think, and this is the lesson from this story, there's an important lesson here. We can all jump on someone and take the moral high ground. We can take the moral high ground. We can all look at DJ, and I understand this. As I've already said, I can understand someone attacking DJ from the moral angle. That's fine. We can sit here and take the moral high ground and look down upon DJ and say, yeah, you know, you did something very scummy, very deceptive, a big lie, and you abused people's goodwill and good nature. But the lesson here, folks, is we also need to look inward. And yes, what DJ did was reprehensible. However, let us not forget what he actually did. He lied. That's all he did. He lied. He deceived people. He manipulated people. He manipulated people into giving him money. Fine. I actually don't have a problem with that, per se. And I know that may be controversial, but I actually don't have a problem with that per se. Now, do I look at DJ as an admirable human? No! I told you. Scumbag. Scumbag move. And his reputation with me and many other people will be forever tarnished. Fine. But do I actually have a problem, really, when I look at it professionally with what he has done? All he's done, folks, is deceived and manipulated people into giving him money, in this case. Have we ever told a few white lies, been a little bit deceptive to get something that we want? Think about it, folks. Have you ever, or are you just Mother Teresa? Are we all just Mother Teresas who watch Bandido Talks? Think of it. Be honest with ourselves, folks. We can stand here and take the moral superior high ground. But be careful, because when we actually think about what DJ has done, he has been deceptive. And when you look at it from that angle, he has not forced or imposed himself onto anyone. He's just been cunning and manipulative. And his grand lie has now been exposed. Fine. But remember, all he has done is be deceptive. That's it. And I think when we look inwards at ourselves and be honest with ourselves, have we, throughout our life's history, been deceptive in order to get something that we want? Because in this case, DJ was being deceptive in order to get money. Have we ever been deceptive and manipulated someone into getting something that we want, whether it's their money, their time, or some other resource that they have that we would like? I would argue that everyone, on some level, has done this. Nobody is Mother Teresa. And if someone's trying to tell you that they are Mother Teresa, they're full of shit. Full of shit. They are literally being deceptive right to your face. Because everyone, life is a game of manipulation. What do you even think communication is? When you talk to someone, what are you doing? You're trying to communicate. You're trying to convey a message. Why are you conveying a message? Well, you want that person to like you. If it's a friend, for example. So if you want to make friends, what are you actually doing? You are using, in this case, the English language to communicate and convey a message that you are someone who is respectable and admirable. And what are you essentially doing? You are, one could say, manipulating someone into liking you. You're using the English language to convey something to someone so that they like you. They provide you, in this case, with friendship. Now, people won't like the word manipulation. They won't like me saying you are manipulating. But let's just say what it is. When we communicate, we are manipulating. Communication is manipulation. We do it all the time. We do it all the time. If we were to analyze Bandido Talks, what am I doing on this show? I'm communicating to people on the other end of a stream. Why am I doing it? Why am I communicating? Why am I doing this show? Well, do I think I have got something valuable to offer on this show? Yes. Am I manipulating you, though? Is there some degree of manipulation? Well, let's be honest. Of course there is. Because I am, in this case, manipulating you into giving me your time. In this case, the resource is time. DJ was manipulating people into giving him money. But whenever I have a talk show like Bandido Talks, what am I doing? I'm communicating in a way that I think is valuable, but ultimately I'm manipulating your behavior. I'm manipulating your behavior because I'm getting you to tune into this live stream. I'm getting you to watch this show after it has been posted. So I'm manipulating your world, your life, into dedicating time towards my show. It's manipulation. We may not like the word manipulation, but that's what it is. I am manipulating you. And what am I getting out of it? I'm getting your time. I'm getting your attention. How am I manipulating you? Well, I'm, in my opinion, providing some value, one could argue. But ultimately, underlying this, there's a manipulation of your behavior. I'm manipulating your behavior so that you're giving me your time and attention on this live stream. DJ was manipulating people so that he could get money, financial resources from them. Now, what is more reprehensible? What I'm doing or what DJ is doing? I think I'm providing value. So I think there's a fair exchange. So even though I am manipulating any viewer that's on the other end of this stream, I think there's a fair exchange because you're giving me your time and attention, and in return for your time and attention, I'm giving you valuable content. So there's a fair exchange. But let's not get lost in the woo-woo of all of this. There is an underlying manipulation. I'm looking your time and attention. And in return, I'm hopefully giving you value. Now, you see, the difference with DJ is, and this is why people find it more reprehensible and more of a betrayal. The problem people have with DJ is he's taken something, but he hasn't given anything back. So, of course, it's a loan that DJ has taken. So, what is the other person supposed to get out of this? Well, the other person, number one, is supposed to be contributing in some way to DJ's treatment. So this person feels like they are earning status chips with DJ. If somebody contributes money, loans DJ money for this horrendous brain tumor, for this really important treatment over in America, this person is getting status chips with DJ. That's what they're thinking. They're thinking, yeah, I'm building up a debt with DJ, a psychological debt. I give him money, and so my credibility with DJ goes up. And because DJs are rich, not rich, but rich in the sense of he's a person within the Irish community who's highly respected. So if I can get more credibility off DJ by contributing to his predicament, then perhaps I can increase my own standing within the community. I can appear as a really outstanding individual who has contributed to this cause of helping DJ battle his brain tumor. So in this case, the people who have donated money to DJ, they are essentially building a Stone Age debt with DJ and ultimately looking to have a status payoff down the line. Because if DJ did actually have a brain tumor, and these people have contributed money to his treatment, and DJ survives, then the people who have contributed money, their standing and status is going to go up because they look like good Samaritans. They look like Mother Teresa's because they contributed large sums of money to DJ. So the exchange was supposed to be, DJ, we give you money for your treatment as a loan, you pay the money back, and you get healthy again, you recover your health, and then we not only get our money back and break even financially, but then the big thing that we get is we get the status payoff. We get to be known as the people who helped DJ Carey. We get to be known as the people who helped save or contributed to saving DJ Carey's life. And so the people who give or loaned money to DJ would be thinking this. Perhaps unconsciously, they're thinking, if DJ can pull through and I can contribute in some way to helping DJ defeat this brain tumor, me who has loaned the money, I am going to appear as an ultimately respectable human, a really admirable human for contributing to this cause of DJs. And as a result, my status will go up. My reputation will be enhanced because I've helped the mighty DJ Carey. I've helped save the mighty DJ Carey's life. That's what the exchange is supposed to be. And the problem that people have with DJ is that they've loaned the money, so they've held up their end of the bargain. They've loaned DJ the money, but of course, what has happened? DJ doesn't have a brain tumour. And so these people look like they've been done up like a kipper, in other words. They actually look, one could argue, a little naive, a little silly for falling for the scam. And so these people are now bent out of shape. Dennis O'Brien. People might look at Dennis O'Brien and say, look at him, the big sausage donated €135,000 to DJ. He got scammed. When you are known as someone who's been scammed, you do lose a little bit of status because you've been done up like a kipper. So as a result, and it's happened to all of us, we've all been scammed, very likely at various stages in our life. We've been scammed out of our time, we've been scammed out of our money, we've been scammed out of some other resource. It's happened to all of us. It doesn't have to be just money. So people are naturally pissed off. Not only have they lost money, they've lost the money, they've lost the loan. DJ isn't going to pay the loan back. He's in prison and he's probably broke because he's blown all the money. So they're not going to get their loan back. But this is the thing. I would argue that, yes, is it painful that they've lost a lot of money? Yes. There's going to be a sting associated with loaning DJ Carey money and not getting the loan back. But I would actually argue the thing that people are most pissed off about is actually the payoff they thought they were going to get in terms of their own status and standing. I think that's what really pisses people off. Dennis O'Brien contributed €135,000 to DJ's treatment because he thought by donating such a large sum of money to DJ's treatment, he looked like a really good Samaritan. He looked like this Mother Teresa, give, give, give. Look at him, he's sharing his wealth. We should put him in contact with Billie Eilish. She'd love Dennis O'Brien, giving away all his money. And so Dennis O'Brien, when he would have given that loan to DJ, he would have been thinking, great, when people find out that I've donated €135,000 to DJ, people are going to think that I'm just the Lord here on earth. I'm just such a giver. I'm just such a good guy. Look at me. I donated all of this money to DJ to help him with this really admirable cause. Poor old DJ has a brain tumour. And look at me. I'm giving all this money to DJ to help him with his treatment. Dennis O'Brien would have been thinking that. He would have been thinking about the future payoff whenever people would have found out that Dennis had loaned DJ all of this money. Let's imagine DJ pulls through and survives. And even if DJ dies, it doesn't matter from this brain tumour that he was supposed to have. Even if DJ died, if he lives or dies, it doesn't actually matter. The fact that people would know that someone like Dennis O'Brien has contributed such a large sum of money, people would look at Dennis O'Brien and say, you know, fair play, Dennis. You tried to help poor old DJ. You know, you give him the very best fighting chance of beating this thing. Fair play to you, Dennis. You're a tremendous human being, a high-quality human being, highly respectable, and as a result, Dennis earns more status chips within the community, within the public sphere. And people like Dennis, who would have donated or loaned money to DJ, they would have been thinking the same thing. Yes, did they want DJ to pay back the loan? Of course they did. They would have wanted to break even at least. They wouldn't have wanted to have willingly lost money. But the bigger thing here was they would have wanted the status payoff. They would have wanted to have been known as the person who donated money to DJ Carey's brain tumour cancer cause. They would want to be known as the people who helped DJ Carey battle this vicious disease. They would want to be seen in the eyes of the public as these outstanding, morally excellent people who have contributed their resources, their financial resources towards helping DJ. And that's fine. People are going to be pissed off. And of course, as I was saying, the whole part of this trade was supposed to be they give DJ money and DJ is then through this process of getting cancer treatment, Through this process, what these people are going to get out of this is the increase in status that comes from them donating to DJ's very admirable cause, or perceived admirable cause. And what happened, of course, it turns out that DJ doesn't have a brain tumour. And so as a result, these people are all bent out of shape because they're not going to get the status payoff now. And not only are they not going to get the status payoff, but the DJ has blown a hole in their pockets. But again, remember, folks, what has DJ done? He has simply manipulated people. He has manipulated people into willingly giving him money. DJ Carey manipulated people into willingly giving him money. Remember that, folks. It is no different to me manipulating you right now to stay on this live stream or to watch this video. It is no different to me manipulating you so that you give me your time and attention. And then in return, I'm hopefully giving you valuable content. So hopefully it's a fair trade. And if you don't think it's a fair trade, then guess what? You have the right to never tune in to Bandido Talks again. If you think that I'm scamming you out of your time and attention, then guess what? Go watch somebody else. Because I'm not forcing you to give me your time and attention. I'm not forcing you. Am I manipulating you? Yes. We are manipulating everybody. Everybody is manipulating everyone. People don't like the word manipulating. Tough. Get used to it. Because that's exactly what we're doing. We're all manipulating everyone so that we can get what we want out of any particular exchange. Whether it's a romantic partnership, a friendship, whether it's money, whether it's some other resource, whether it's time and attention. We are constantly manipulating people for something along those lines. Time, attention, money, friendship, romantic partnership. How do you think we get anything in this life? It's through manipulation. That is all that DJ Carey did. Now, of course, morally, as I keep saying, did DJ hold up his end of the bargain? No, he didn't. He did not pay back the loan. He did not allow these people to get the status payoff for helping DJ with a supposed brain tumour and the treatment for this supposed brain tumour. So yes, DJ didn't hold up his end of the bargain. But folks, Dennis O'Brien is a fully grown man. And all of these people who would have donated or loaned money to DJ, they are fully grown adults. And those people need to take responsibility. They need to accept that they were scammed. And that's on them. They didn't do their due diligence. And they're going to have to learn the hard way. When you lose, don't lose the lesson. And that's the thing. People will have lost money. They will have lost an opportunity for a status payoff further down the line. When you lose, don't lose the lesson. And this is the thing. That's fine. DJ didn't hold up his end of the bargain. But folks, DJ didn't force anybody to do anything. Just like I'm not forcing you right now to watch Bandido Talks. I am trying to manipulate you into giving me your time and attention, that is true, in exchange for valuable content that's hopefully going to help your own existence. But I'm not forcing you to watch Bandido Talks. You can tune out at any time. DJ didn't force anybody to give him money. DJ manipulated people and deceived people into giving him money. And DJ didn't hold up his end of the bargain. He didn't pay back the loans, and he didn't give these people the status payoff down the line for having contributed to his supposed brain tumour and the treatment for this brain tumour. So he didn't hold up his end of the bargain. He deceived them into giving him money. You can come at DJ Carey morally. Fine, if you want to do that. You can come at DJ morally. But I would argue, and this is the big lesson from this story, folks. coming at DJ legally, I would argue, and could easily mount an argument, that that is not fair. That is not fair. 5.5 years in prison. For what? Not holding up his end of the bargain? On a loan? Was this loan even in writing? Was there a legal contract? No. People just gave him money. There was nothing legally binding about this at all. There was no force involved in these people giving DJ money. There was no case here where DJ was imposing himself on other people. People listened to DJ, they listened to his deceptive lie, and they willingly gave him money. That's on them. Those people didn't do their due diligence. They got scammed by a scammer. Scumbag move by DJ, no question. He didn't hold up his end of the bargain. His reputation is in tatters. But folks, let's be professional. Did DJ Carey break the law? For telling a lie? For being deceptive? For manipulating people? Because if DJ Carey has broken the law, then guess what? I'm breaking the law right now. Because I'm manipulating you. I'm manipulating you into giving me your time and attention. So then I should be thrown in prison. And I would argue that every single one of you watching this stream should be thrown in prison too. Because all of us have been manipulative throughout our lives. All of us have told lies throughout our lives. All of us have been deceptive throughout our lives. And we have lied and been manipulative and been deceptive in order to gain something from someone else. Whether that's money, whether that's time, whether that's attention, whether that's friendship, whether that's a romantic interaction, whether that is some other resource. Humans manipulate other humans all the time into getting value out of an interaction. And yes, we always like to be doing things in the morally right way. If we're going to get into an exchange with someone, we want to be providing something for them and they want to be providing something for us. Yes, in an ideal world. And sometimes we get people who we call liars and deceptive people who don't hold up their end of the bargain. Oh well, such is life. People lie and deceive all the time and manipulate other people into getting things that they want. It's up to us to do our due diligence. We should, in a circumstance like this, if we are going to donate, if Dennis O'Brien is going to donate 135,000 euros to DJ, if I was going to do that, I would be doing tremendous due diligence on DJ Carey and his condition and his treatment. I would be asking DJ questions. Where are you going in America? Show me the name of the clinic. Show me some of your interactions with the medical team over in America. Can I see your diagnosis? What doctor are you seeing here now? I would ask all these things. And I don't think that would be unreasonable. Because if I was thinking about loaning money to DJ Carey, and a large sum of money at that, in the thousands, I think it's perfectly reasonable to cross-examine DJ Carey. Why not? It's my money. It's my time I'm putting into this, and it's my resources. So I think it's perfectly reasonable to cross-examine DJ. That's what I would have done. I would have done my due diligence. And for those people who got scammed out of money, well, oh well. We've all been scammed out of time, money, and resources in our lives. It happens. Shit happens, like Pat Mustard says out of Father Ted. Shit happens. But when shit happens, or when you lose, do not lose the lesson. And people need to accept responsibility for being scammed. They didn't do their background check. They weren't essentially, let's just say, diligent enough in their approach of this situation with DJ. And they have paid the price, both financially and in terms of their time invested and in the lack of status payoff that comes from actually not being able to help DJ because DJ doesn't have a brain tumor. And this is the thing, folks. Let us not get lost in the emotional response here. It's a dangerous line. It's a dangerous way to look at this. If we think DJ Carey deserves 5.5 years in prison, we need to really stop. We need to stop and ask ourselves, why? Why is DJ deserving of 5.5 years in prison? What did he do? Did he steal? Did he rob? Did he force anybody at gunpoint or knife point to give him money? No. All he did was deceive and manipulate people and not hold up his end of the bargain. Welcome to life, folks. We come across people all the time who do not hold up their end of the bargain. And we get, quote, scammed out of time, money, or some other resource. DJ Carey, an easy argument. As I've said already, I could mount an easy argument for DJ not going to prison. What he did was a betrayal of people's trust. No question. Is he a criminal? In the conventional sense? Has he broken the law? Absolutely not. No law has been broken. People willingly gave him money. They were scammed out of their money. Such is life. Okay, that's DJ Carey. We have been speaking for a long time. 1.5 hours. Goodness gracious. DJ has taken up the entire show tonight. But you know what? We're only going to get through one story here. And it's not normally the case here on our news on the tube. Normally we get through maybe 2 or 3 stories. Normally 3 news stories. And it's funny, whenever I saw this article come up, I had this sense that, this is actually a really interesting article. It's a really interesting news article. It's a really interesting topic in the news, certainly here in Ireland. And when you get into this topic, once you get beyond the emotional response, the disgust reaction, the sense of betrayal, once you get beyond that, and once you get beyond the humour of it all, DJ sticking the phone charger cable up his nose and putting a sticky plaster across his nose and trying to make it out as if he was in the middle of a cancer treatment. When you get beyond the emotional response of betrayal, the humour, and you actually look at this, folks, there is actually a real golden nugget in this story. And I think the golden nugget has been well covered in the last, let's call it 90 minutes. So anyway, that's DJ. From hero to zero. Isn't that what they said in the Hercules movie? From hero to zero. Such is life. Anyway, that's DJ. And I think that's going to be enough in terms of our news stories tonight. So, with all of that out of the road, let's get over to the live chat. Let's see if anybody is engaging with the show. Let's see if you folks have any comments to make. Are you manipulating other people? Are you a manipulative person? You may listen and say, no, you're out of your mind, Mr. Bandido. You're talking through your hole. I am not a manipulative person. I am Mother Teresa. I never lie. I never deceive. I never manipulate people. Maybe that's what you think. Or maybe I'm speaking to your source code. Maybe deep down you know that you do manipulate people. You may not even be consciously doing it, but when you reflect and you engage your own scorn here, you may think, you know what? Maybe I am a little deceptive. Maybe if I'm being honest and analysing this situation as a professional. Who knows? Let me know in the chat. Let's see if anybody is commenting in the chat. Of course, there could be nobody in the chat. Maybe people heard that we were going on and on and on about DJ and they thought, oh, I couldn't be arsed with this story. It's boring. So let's see if there's anybody still hanging with us in the chat. Okay. We have a couple of comments here. So let's get down into our comments. Our first comment is from Quizzed. Quizzed is joining us live here on Sunday evening. He's hung with us. So let's see what Quizzed, again, I'm always going to say this, Quizzed has been here from the beginning, from the very start of Bandido Talks. So Quizzed has been a loyal follower and subscriber of the show. So let's see what Quizzed has to say in our live chat. Quizzed says the following. DJ Carey, the boys will never learn, will they? Well, I would have to agree with Quizzed. I mean, DJ, we could argue that DJ probably could have gotten away with this. He probably could have gotten away with this. If DJ didn't take the phone charger cable and stick it up the nose with the sticky Band-Aid, he probably could have gotten away with this. And I think with a bit more intellect, one could say, DJ could easily have pulled this off. Given his standing within our society and with a sort of well put together scamming plan, he probably could have gotten away with this. So I would agree with Quaized. The boys will never learn. DJ didn't know when to get out. He just didn't know when to get out. He could have gotten away with this. But he pushed too far. He pushed too far. And it's funny because Quaized has said the boys will never learn. Well, no matter what you think about DJ's 5.5-year sentence in prison, we've already talked about this. I'm not going to go over it again. You know the perspective of the Bandido on this. So no matter what it is you think, whether you think DJ, it is justified that he goes to prison, whether you think it is not justified that he goes to prison for simply telling a lie, no matter what your thoughts are, what we could perhaps speculate upon is the fact that DJ, whether we agree with it or not, is going to prison. He is going to prison. And so he's going to have 5.5, we would assume, long years to think about this entire thing. Now, I don't know DJ Carey, and to be honest, I have to be honest in the sense that I don't actually know his personal circumstances. I know he doesn't have a brain tumour, but who knows what his personal circumstances are, why he decided to do this. I don't know DJ as a person. What he did, the act of what he did, was a scummy move. It was a scumbag move, no question. But I don't know him as a person. I've never met him. I've never spoken with him. So who knows? Maybe the 5.5 years that he's going to spend in prison, with his liberty taken either rightly or wrongly from him, you're going to be the judge of that. He's going to have 5.5 long years to spend in prison. So perhaps, Quaized, maybe this boy will learn. Maybe he will never learn. Who knows? He has 5.5 years. This boy, DJ Carey, old DJ, he's going to have 5.5 years to reflect on this entire episode. Who knows? If there's a bit of conscientiousness left in DJ's brain, perhaps he will look at this and maybe he'll turn a corner. Who knows? Maybe I'll be the optimist and say 5.5 years of punishment, rightly or wrongly, for what he has done, he will be able to reflect and maybe he will turn a corner. Maybe he will see the error of his ways. Maybe there's just enough conscientiousness in that brain so that he learns his lesson. Maybe he will never learn. Maybe you are correct, Quaized. Maybe DJ will never learn. Maybe he will. Only time will tell. He will have plenty of time to think about it. So that's Quaized. Quaized in our live chat. Who else do we have in the live chat? We have Pat Mustard. Pat Mustard is back in the live chat. Now, I've actually already mentioned Pat Mustard. I mentioned Pat Mustard, about 10 or 15 minutes ago? The famous saying, shit happens. That's what Pat Mustard used to have on his milk float in the Father Ted comedy series. Shit happens. And it's funny because Pat Mustard has appeared a few times in our live chat and he's kind of in my mind now. So whenever I see Pat Mustard in the live chat, I always think of Pat Mustard from Father Ted. And so Pat Mustard ends up weaving his way into Bandido Talks. But anyway, let's see what Pat Mustard has to say. He says the following. I hear a phone charger up the snout is an old cure with a green laughing emoji. It's like a SpongeBob emoji, only green, with a big smiley face. Let me see. Yeah, he's really roaring and laughing, this emoji. So Pat Mustard says, I hear a phone charger up the snout is an old cure. Well, perhaps DJ could mount the argument in court. Maybe DJ, well, he's actually already conceded. He's already conceded and said, I accept that I was a scammer. But perhaps if DJ Carey had been speaking with Pat Mustard in our live chat, Pat Mustard could have explained to DJ, no DJ, you're forgetting something. There's some new science in a recent obscure journal that says sticking a phone charger up your nose is an effective cure for brain tumours that haven't yet become detectable on a CT, MRI, or PET scan. And so perhaps if DJ had listened to this particular bit of advice from Pat Mustard is saying that the old phone charger cable up the snout is actually an old cure for a brain tumour that isn't detectable yet with our scanners. Then perhaps DJ could have mounted an argument in court and said, hold on a second, I didn't scam anybody. I had a brain tumour that wasn't yet detectable via MRI or via CT or via PET scan. And as a result, this research that exists in this new scientific journal, it's an obscure journal, but its new scientific evidence says that when you stick the phone charger cable up the snout, it helps to extinguish little baby brain tumours that haven't yet evolved into a big monster that's detectable on a scanner that we have in a hospital. Perhaps DJ could have used that line of argument. He could have said, I had a brain tumour, it just wasn't detectable. And the phone charger up the nose was my way of treating my condition. And I needed €135,000 from Dennis O'Brien to do this, because there's a specific type of phone charger that you need in order to have the therapeutic effect of getting rid of the brain tumour that isn't yet detectable via these scanners. Maybe that's what Pat Mustard's getting at, about this old cure of the phone charger cable up the snout. Am I right, Pat? Who knows? Only Pat can truly clarify what it is that he's saying. But yes, the old phone charger up the nose, an ancient cure for a baby brain tumour that hasn't morphed yet into the big ugly Terminator monster. Who knows? If only DJ was privy to this information before his court appearance. He could have scammed or manipulated the judge into letting him run as a free man. Oh well. Sorry, DJ. Late to the party. But that's Pat. That's Pat Mustard's contribution to tonight's show. Anyway, those are all of our live chats. I want to thank Quazed and Pat Mustard for engaging with the show. It is always appreciated. Engagement with the show is always a good thing. It's been a long show tonight about DJ, but I think a valuable show. I think a lot of good insight to be gleaned from this show. Hopefully you got some value. Hopefully my manipulation of you was worth it. I manipulated you all out of giving me your attention and your time. Hopefully you got value in return. Hopefully you don't see the Bandido as a scammer. But I didn't force you to do anything. There was no force involved. If you gave me your time and attention, it was willingly. And you are then going to have to be the judge of distributing such time and attention in the future towards Bandido Talks. Hopefully it was valuable though, folks. Hopefully it was valuable. And so with that, I'll remind you all, folks, if you liked the live stream, if you liked what we were talking about here tonight on News on the Tube, feel free to like the video. Feel free to like the stream. If you are joining us here after the live event, get down into the comments section. There are plenty of talking points with respect to this particular story. Lots of talking points. So let me know your comments down in the comments section. Let me know what you thought about the show and about all of the things that we covered here. And then finally, as I've said, if you like what we do here at Bandido Talks, if you find it valuable, if you find it insightful, useful in some way, if you think my manipulation of you is worth it for what you get in return in terms of value, then feel free to subscribe to the channel. As I've already said, we are live every Friday, Saturday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Irish time here on YouTube. We'll always have an upload every Tuesday as well, either a guest episode or a best bits upload featuring highlights from the previous week's shows. So lots of content coming your way. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. And with that, folks, that is our final live stream of the week. I want to thank you all very much for joining me here tonight. I want to thank you as well if you've joined us throughout the week, gremlins included. The gremlins keep us on our toes. But I want to thank you again, folks. Thank you to everybody who has engaged with the show throughout the week. And again, I look forward, all being well, we will be back next Friday night at 7 p.m. Irish time for our Let's Reflect segment. We will be reflecting on our Tuesday upload, whether that's with a guest or a best bits upload. We will be back next Friday, 7 p.m. here on YouTube live, doing a little bit of reflecting on our Let's Reflect segment. I hope you can join me then. If not, such is life, folks. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. That's all I'm going to say. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your incoming week. And hopefully, all being well, you can join us here next Friday, 7 p.m. for our first live show of the weekend. Okay. That is all from me, folks, for the week. And so, with that said, that is, folks, over and out from the Bandido.